I'm Dr. Ray Su, BJJ Black Belt and purveyor of pain relief and functional movement. Today, we're going to discuss the risk factors that either increase or decrease your probability of sustaining an injury. Let's get into it. Quick question. Are you more likely to get injured in your first year of BJJ or after 5 years on the mat? The answer from the research is both, but for completely different reasons. And understanding the difference tells you almost everything about how to stay on the mat longer. Today, we're building your personal BJJ injury risk profile from the actual science, and the results are more nuanced and more actionable than most people expect. Before we get into the findings, a quick note on method because it matters for how you interpret this. The studies I'm drawing on today use logistic regression, a statistical technique that lets researchers identify which variables are actually associated with injury after controlling for everything else. So when I say a factor increases your risk, I mean it predicts injury independently, not just because it happens to correlate with something else. This is important because intuition gets it wrong, sometimes. You might assume heavier athletes get hurt more. The research says the opposite. That's the kind of finding that only emerges from controlled analysis. And it's why these studies are worth taking seriously. A 2025 global study found lower belt athletes had higher injury rates during training. That makes intuitive sense. Beginners move inefficiently, muscle through positions instead of flowing, and are slower to recognize and execute a tap. The 2019 Moriarty study confirmed it. Years of training was a significant protective factor. But here's the flip side that surprises most people. The 2021 Munich study found that higher belt rank was actually a risk factor for overall injury because advanced practitioners compete more, frequently train at higher absolute intensities, and accumulate far more total exposure hours over the year. The 2018 Silva study confirmed the split. Novices get hurt more in training, advanced athletes get hurt more in competition. Two completely different risk profiles, two completely different interventions. For beginners, what's important is to teach ego management, learning to tap quickly, and technical efficiency from day one. For advanced athletes, managing competition load and treating pre-competition cycles, training cycles like athletes in other sports do with deliberate load reduction in the weeks before competition would be really important. Training days per week is one of the strongest injury predictors in the Moriarty study, a clean exposure effect. More sessions means more hours at risk. Instructor status was also independently associated with injury, probably because instructors roll with multiple partners in a single session, accumulating more total contact than any single student. Regular competition is a risk factor even after controlling for training volume. Competitors don't just train more, they train differently. Harder sessions, weight cuts that compromise physical state, and maximal intensity match environments all stack into the baseline risk. Here's a number that puts it in perspective. The average BJJ practitioner competes about twice a year, but trains over 7 hours a week. The math explains why 90% of injuries happen in training and only 10% in competition. It's pure exposure time. For competitors, specifically, the research supports a structured periodization approach, higher intensity in the off-season, deliberate reduction 2 to 3 weeks before a tournament. And this is a standard in combat sports with proper coaching infrastructure. It's almost entirely absent from the BJJ world. Body weight is protective. The Moriarty study found heavier athletes are significantly less likely to be injured, likely reflecting greater structural mass around joints and possibly a training culture where lighter athletes get thrown around more in scrambles. Older age increases risk consistent with every other sport. Reduced recovery capacity, accumulated prior injury history, and often higher competitive ambition relative to physical preparedness. On sex, most BJJ studies are 88 to 90% male, so the data is limited. But in episode 4, we'll show you that what we do have on female practitioners reveals dramatically higher concussion rates. Female athletes in BJJ are underserved by the research, and in many gyms, underserved by coaching as well. One specific finding I want to spotlight: athletes training less than 50% of sessions in a gi had significantly higher ankle injury rates. In the Moriarty study, the mechanism is almost certainly heel hook exposure. No gi training, especially modern leg locks, involves far more lower limb entanglements than gi. The ankle and knee bear that additional load, and if you train primarily no gi, this isn't a reason to stop. It's a reason to be deliberate about how you train leg locks, having more controlled exchanges, tapping early, and not cranking on your training partners. Let me translate all of this into 6 specific evidence-backed actions. Number 1, tap early. Ego is the primary mechanism of elbow injury in competition. It's also the primary mechanism of knee injury when heel hooks are involved. Number 2, build training volume gradually. Spikes in weekly sessions are a direct injury predictor. If you're adding sessions, add one at a time and give your body 2 or 3 weeks to adapt. Number 3, if you're an instructor or coach, monitor your own sparring volume. You're a higher risk athlete, and most gyms treat you like a training resource rather than someone who needs recovery. Number 4, if you compete, build a periodized calendar. Hard blocks, then a deliberate 2-week or so taper. This is not complicated. It's just not common in BJJ yet. And number 5, if you train primarily no-gi, add structured recovery work for the ankles and knees. The mechanical demands are different from gi, and your prehab should reflect that. Lastly, number 6, if you're in year 1, prioritize movement efficiency over resistance. The data shows beginners get hurt more, almost certainly because of how they move, not bad luck. Your risk profile, in short, highest is in year 1, drops as you gain experience and efficiency, then rises again if you become a serious competitor, but for completely different reasons each time. In our next episode, we'll cover the injuries nobody's talking about: concussions, skin infections, and hidden vascular risk inside one of BJJ's most fundamental techniques. All sources are cited in the description below. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If you'd like to learn more about BJJ and injuries, check out my free 5-day e-course on how to stay more durable on the mat at the link below. We'll see you next time.